Everybody knows the alphabet. Everybody can count as high as they want. Can they comprehend that all at the same time? How complex do things get when you can add, subtract, mix letters together, make words, sentences? It's infinite. How can you even comprehend everything that has been tied into numbers and letters? And even more than that, in the visual, in games, in the complexity of human life. Let's talk about that. So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. Taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. So, I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're the Unpanderers.
And today we're talking about some pretty complex things. So if you're under 18, if you're under 40, if you're under 70, maybe they don't even have to tune in. Check the cliff notes.
You're going to feel it.
Real complex.
Yeah.
You think?
Let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. Yeah, I think we don't have any. We might.
But even if we did, would we pander?
No, we wouldn't thank them anyway. Oh shit! No one's gonna listen to this thing.
Thank you, Amazon,
for delivering my packages today when I paid for you to do that. So we're gonna talk about complexity, comprehension, and then satisfaction.
Weird that they're all related. You would think they aren't, but maybe they are.
I don't know how I'm gonna tie this together, but I'm sure we can bullshit our way to it.
I doubt it. My money's on the other guy tonight.
I'm going to begin with like life becomes more complex as you get older. You get less pure things. Like you get little like droplets of like emotion here and there that's like sprinkled in there. Little, they call them sprinkles or jimmies in some locations.
In your locale. Depends on the locale.
Depends on the locale. Jimmies are also Jimmy Caps, but never mind. So you get sprinkles of happiness and like little like gotcha moments, epiphanies. Like those things bring you happiness, bring you satisfaction. But it gets kind of stranger because like after a period of time you kind of experienced all you can experience, and then you kind of live vicariously, and kind of like the second time around it's just like haha, and then you're kind of like okay. And then eventually you kind of, if you do the same thing over and over again, you just say like, is that all there is? So people are constantly pulling in more and more complex things to make it more and more challenging, to make it more satisfying.
Is this diminishing returns? Can we just skip ahead to the end?
And we're done. No, this isn't diminishing returns.
It is what you were just discussing. Kind of is. You're doing the same thing over and over. You have to up the ante. So that like, I call it diminishing returns. The drug user fallacy. To get the same high, you have to use more drugs. To get the same high, you have to use more drugs. And then as you get more and more conditioned to a response, well, it may be so. Or even an alcoholic, you have to drink more and more, get to the same high. Like you have to keep
reset yourself.
You have to. Oh well, of course. But who's doing that? We're all chasing that good fun stuff.
Silly humans.
Woo, woo. So, but that's like diminishing returns. Like you're getting the same gold in a little handheld phone game, and you have to just get more of that gold. You can get 10 times as much gold to just get to the next level, but you're doing it because like you're damn. Oh, I love gold. I love next level. Love leveling up.
That's a number, right? It's a number scheme.
It is, but it can you tie those things to real life things? Like, is it a number of drugs we can do to get us to the next level? Is it a number of money we'll get that will get us a promotion that'll get us to the next level? Are there numbers behind all of it?
Is there a dollar amount that makes people happy?
I don't know.
What about your poll? Didn't you pull up a poll from right before coronavirus of people's happiness?
I thought that was very funny. I was trying to figure out happiness in general, and most of the results are America, so it's not across the world, but it's a good life section.
Yeah.
So Americans tend to be pretty happy, at least the way they answer polls. Another thing you have to take into consideration is who's taking the polls, who's asking the poll. Are the answers anonymous, and like what are the responses? Like, is it I can be happy or I can be sad? Well, more happy than sad. Do you have 10 results? Can I be super happy, sort of happy, medium happy, neutral? Who's going to pick neutral? Who's ever completely neutral? But like, there's a lot of things that go into these that we don't know. But what was hilarious is I pulled it up, and a new high of 90% of Americans are entirely satisfied with their personal life. February 6th, 2020.
Oh, those people. I wonder what it is
Like
now.
Justin McCarthy in Well-Being in Gallup. I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, it was actually a really good article. Talked about how people rank their happiness. It's based on like their income, their identity, their free time, stuff like that. And it's just really, really funny that this was released February 6th, 2020. Because if you just waited 3 weeks, whew.
Yep, would have been completely different. You wouldn't have been able to interview them. You wouldn't be able to poll them.
Not in person, that's for sure.
No.
You can't poll people in person anymore. That's what's happened in our PC society.
So in that poll, the bottom, below $40,000 in, was it in your bank or is that income?
I believe it's income because the top one is 100,000 plus income.
And most people are super happy, right?
It's they based it on. So these are all the things that are effective in your life. I'm white. I have $100,000. I'm Republican. I have children under age 18. You check off all these boxes for what you are, and then they grade you overall. Are you satisfied with your life, or are you not satisfied with your life? The number one result for satisfied with your life, 96% of the people who had $100,000 plus. And I think that was for their income.
Yeah. So I fit in that bracket. And I don't, like, once you make enough money, you try to use your money to make more money. And at that point, it becomes a very tricky game because there's so many people in that bubble, and you feel like you're missing opportunities. Like when the pandemic happened and the stock market like bottomed out, aka the poll linked over time, it showed that people were happy when the stock market was high. So I guess in the beginning of the pandemic, I missed out on opportunities. So I always like regret like not putting my money in the right spots. So that pains me because I'm a perfectionist. I like not to get things wrong, and I got something wrong there. So, but it's too complex to really understand it, and there's way too much going on to feel like I should have known.
Isn't there a point where, though, that they're satisfied, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're satisfied with their income or the money they have. It's just they're satisfied, and also, by coincidence, I make over $100,000 a year.
I think that's
like,
taking care of the basis.
You're tying 100%. I agree, but you're saying you're chasing the money. The chasing the money seems to be the happiness.
Yeah.
In your scenario, versus maybe it's not a basis for happiness is chasing it and getting as much as you can. It's just once you reach over that amount, you should be able to cover your bases and maybe focus on other things. I'm not giving you advice. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So there's a piece there of like setting goals and setting new ones, and then like achieving goals in the same scheme. So I think whenever I play like games or even in life, it's when I'm first learning something, I get super frustrated and I hate it. And it's like it's really complex at the beginning, and you start to comprehend it, and it becomes less and less complex. And then somewhere in the middle, you kind of feel like you're achieving, you're striving, you're doing better. And then I guess towards the end, you kind of top out. And when you top out, you don't really have anything to strive for, so you just kind of like, it doesn't like feel quite right. Do you
This
feel
is
that?
like with a video game. Well, it's like playing a game like Dishonored, or you never played that one, but there's certain video games that have a steeper learning curve than others, and
Mm-hmm.
they're wide open. You can do so many different things. It's overwhelming. You just can't figure out how to do anything. But once you find your niche, or like a way to like cheat the system, like you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of, oh, I'm really good at this, and oh damn, I can get so much gold from this, or I can get so much credit from this, or so much clout from this in real life, or so much praise from this in real life. You bang it over and over again to the point of like you're sort of spamming it, you're cheating a little bit, and then you're getting back big time results, and you're leveling up, you're promoting yourself, you're getting more money, you're doing whatever it is you're good at, and
Mm-hmm.
you're using the system. At that point, there comes a point where diminishing returns, I'll say. I know that sounds crazy, but you keep doing it, but you're not leveling up as much. You're not achieving the same high. You're not getting as much out of it. And so I think in one sense, you've exposed that you're cheating the system. There are dozens of different ways to achieve that goal, and I think if you apply different ways, you might find they're interesting. It's like easy with Dishonored because I can say I can stealth everyone and use like sleeping darts and break people's necks and not get caught ever, and quick save and quick load, and I never see 'em. But there's other ways to play the game. I mean, there's ways to level up your strength. There's ways to level up your health. Magic, invisible. Like, do you remember? Oh, yes, you do. The Dishonored dude who can play at incredible pace. He cuts people's heads off. He throws their own heads at them.
Oh,
He,
and
like,
then like shoots an arrow through
jumps.
that.
Yeah, and shoots an arrow through that head. And as he's falling off a
Yeah.
building, he's killing someone. Like, there's other ways to cheat the game or get good at the game. And I think it's important that when you go too far in depth in one way, you cheat yourself the other ways. And I think that's what you're missing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So I've been like mildly obsessed with playing Factorio for a really long time. For like 3 weeks now.
How many minutes into the episode, Factorio?
Yeah, I think I'm close to the end of it. At least I thought I was, like maybe 100 or 200 hours ago. And I realized that the satisfaction I get from that game is directly linked to the complexity that I don't understand, or like that I can't possibly get. So
The cheat you don't understand.
yeah, well the whole point of the game is to not do anything, right? It's really like you're supposed to not be like bound to your physical body. So you're gathering resources. The resources build the things that you're like. They're in this little like automation thing, like a little box, a little house. And then like you need to place more of those things and route more of the things and plug things in. It's like routing wires. So plug those in, like get an amp, get like guitars, like bunch of like plugging amps in and like routing like audio signals, like with a mixer.
Mhm.
A bunch of people who like podcasts. It's the same idea as that you're routing all these things in different locations for builds or different things. Eventually you get to the point where you have these like robots that take care of all of that. And like for a while, like I guess I was like, there's no way to track where everything is. So
So you didn't know if your robots were doing a productive enough job? Did that bother you?
it's no. The robots like will follow your direction, but like there's no way to trace like that robot was here. He did that. Like literally, there's like 30,000 robots in the game I'm playing now, and
And they automate the process, so you can actually individually check on them.
yeah. And what I didn't realize in that game is that for the
You're
longest
Jeff
time,
Bezos.
yes,
And you wanted to check on
Take
your
over the
workers to make sure they
world.
weren't. Are you guys going on bathroom breaks too long?
I want metrics for all your robots. Let me see your robots here. How
What have you been up to 7 minutes ago? Just offhand, if your life depended on
have
it.
you pissed yourself yet? Is that
Oh, that's not good.
you haven't? You haven't? You better.
Ooh. Yeah, you better work harder.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
Good.
like the complexity of it is that like you could change one thing and there's a trickle down and you can actually like see it. Like the satisfactory part of it is that you can actually like change one piece and then you follow the supply line. Like you can see all the changes that you make. It's so you're in
More
control of
effective.
everything. Yeah, you can tweak it. The crazy part that I didn't comprehend, and the part that made me like completely satisfied was that there are these achievements that are completely arbitrary. and this is like life. Is that there's things that are completely arbitrary
Like
of like,
Xbox Live achievements, or are they
yes,
in the game? Or okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
produce whatever amount for like an hour, and it's like that's hard to do. So I went and I started
But
looking at, and I actually like beat one of like the time ones. Actually, it was like complete the game in 8 hours, and I completed it in 7 after failing like 4 times. So I spent that much time doing it, and like failing and learning and like understanding that like, oh, I was doing something like inefficient. Eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, that's not a big deal, but it wasn't really that satisfying. Like I was just like, yay, I did it, like woohoo. I think what I figured out later was that like you can like copy and paste things and then like not even like have to move, and then like you could just like, so in my other, like I went back to my old games, I took the entire base that I had built, the entire fucking thing, and I was just like boop, and then boop, I dropped it. So I doubled my base, and then all the robots are just like boop, boop, and then they just like a waves of them. It's like it looked like a giant tidal wave of like robots just like dropping things. It was crazy. So I guess in the point of it is that like there's no way I would have sat there and done that manually, and it's too complex for me to even like really like draw it out. But there's a piece of me that understands that like this is my intention, and it becomes abstract. Like at a certain point, like there's no way I could be like, I know like everything I blueprinted and dropped down was like something I had done. So there was intention when I first did it, and then duplicating it was like just there's no way I could comprehend like every little piece that I did, and it's
over
just
again
like
and duplicate it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What I think ultimately we'll come back to again is cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone ever gets good at anything. All the things I'm good at, I just know how to cheat at. And I'm not saying that in like a underhanded way.
Shortest path.
But
Yep.
like, yeah, shortest path. But like, it's funny when you think about it in sports. So in sports, I was always really good at like, let's say, hockey stick handling. Like, I'm not a great skater, not a great anything at hockey. I'm not fundamentally good at anything, but I love to stick handle. And when I would skate forward towards a defender, I literally don't even think, oh, what's his arm angle? Oh, what's his probability of going left to right? I just literally know that if he's kind of facing inwards a little bit, I can cut in like I'm going to go towards his inside and go outside, and then just turn on the burners and go around him. There's nothing about it that's really technical or savvy. Like there might be on the internals of my brain, but ultimately I just pick that if he's facing that way. If he's facing another way, or like it looks like I can cross him over to the left, I'll do it. I'll go back to the backhand and go in on him. But anything you're good at, when I meet new people and I just talk with them, I don't think, hey, I should strike up the conversation with fellow B and say these things. I just freaking do it and feel off of what they're feeling. But there's usually a way to cheat. You just do it. You don't really think about it. You kind of just take this shortcut every time. Like you jumpstart something. What you're saying, you duplicate a process, and then you know that if the result comes back A, or if it's B, you pick the other, or you pick vice versa. And you have this plan already laid out in your head, and you don't really think about it. I didn't plan it, but it's there. Like, if I talk to Bryce Harper about hitting a baseball, he could tell me as much as he wants, but he's not thinking anything he's telling me. He's not like, you keep your shoulder up here, you move your angle here, and when you see the ball here, you got to go drive through, make sure the barrel is making as much contact with the center of the bat. No, like, he's just doing it.
He can't give you all the experiences that led up to him hitting a home run.
Not at all. And he's also not thinking of them every time he does it. He's literally cheating. He has a if X, do Y. If Z, do J. There's a million things, but they're natural. They're real quick. And that's the secret to anything we do in life. And things can be infinitely complex, like playing a sport like ice hockey, where you're gliding on a blade and like over ice, and there's friction, and you got to take into account this and the angles. But you don't take into account all of them. You kind of take shortcuts. If he's facing this way and he's a little inside, and I'm pretty sure I can beat him on speed, we're doing this. If he's doing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's about shortcuts. And I think what you're explaining, what you do with Factorio is a shortcut also. You know what systems kind of work. You know where to cut some of the fat. I don't think you literally think of every infinitesimal combination you could possibly have at every point, right? You just kind of know the ones that sort of work.
Mm-hmm.
The way a musician knows what patterns sort of work musically. The way that we all know shortcuts. I think shortcuts is like kind of what we do. And that's how we boil down all these super complex shit.
Yeah, this kind of fits into like mastery. So like the amount of time that I spent playing Factorio is like sub 100 hours. And like when you really master something, what Malcolm Gladwell, I think, calls it like 10,000 hours of like, that's when you've like learned all you can learn. That's when you become a master, and that's when you like, it's very seldom that you're like, I doubt you are surprised by something in any video game after 10,000 hours.
Yeah, you probably would not be surprised by anything. I would argue that that number could change depending on what the item is. Mm-hmm. Playing a game of checkers is probably different than 10,000 hours of
Rubik's
like,
Cube or something.
Or violin or something like that.
Yeah.
In music. You know what I mean? There's probably a difference. But to a degree, X amount of hours doing something, mundane or not, practiced or not, freelance or not, like you will run into so many things. After 10,000 hours, you're probably not running into anything new.
Yeah.
So you know all the cheat codes.
Yeah, and the learn processes are probably subliminal. Like you, like subconscious, you just like kind of execute the pieces that you don't need to think about, but you know are the best because you've already been through those scenarios multiple times.
Which I'm calling cheat codes, but like think of it. I mean, it's literally you have an X, Y. I always do X, even if it's probability based. Probability is that it will work out in the end. It'll be better for you. It doesn't always work, but I mean, there's no perfect response for anything. I don't think, is there? Uh-oh.
Is there perfection in a? It depends. I guess.
Checkers or hockey or this or that or violin. Is there perfection in violin or guitar? I have no idea.
I don't know, man. Maybe like perfect notes or something. Like imagine like someone telling you
Is
you're
there
like
a perfect
slightly
note?
off. Well, violin's crazy because you don't have like frets, right? So like you could be slightly off. But what if it evokes more emotion to be slightly off? Well, which is better?
I guess that's a good point. What is perfect? Here's something that's crazy that I thought we were going to get into. I don't know that we will, so I'll bring it up. When you say complex, something can be so complex where if you're playing a violin or something like that, and you're playing a note, what's happening chemically between your fingers and like the wood of the board and like the string,
and
even more than chemically, what happens molecularly? So let's say there's a lot of carbon and hydrogen in your fingers. Do they actually cross over into the molecules or the atoms of the violin? They have to, right? There's no way they don't touch at all.
Interference between them. You have sweaty palms or something.
How much crossover is there? Are there like, a couple 100,000 of my atoms cross over into its atoms? Is that what happens? I have no idea.
So
or are they miles apart? I have no idea.
So I love this one.
And I know a lot about science. Go ahead.
I know science. I'm the best at science.
I'm the best at science. I'm just telling you. Friggin' your molecules, how far apart are they?
So, I love this one subreddit, Artisan Videos, and there was one that I showed you about the father and son making guitars.
Yes.
And it was like
it was a long video.
Yeah, it was like an hour long. But like the way they went back and forth about things I didn't understand, and they're like, making like the bends in the wood, and then like talking about it in a way I've never heard anybody talk about it. And they both kind of like say what, like they would just kind of look at each other and nod, and be like, oh, I like this, like I don't even know what terms they were using. And then they both be like, yeah, I think this, and then like they would just do it, and just like kind of quietly like do things that I could never, like I don't think I could ever do. Like I don't know how to make a guitar. They had an entire workshop filled with these like tiny, like these tools that just kind of like, oh, if we use this, like, oh, let me grab that other like whatever jig, and then like
it puts
blah, blah, blah.
tension over here, and it puts a bend in the neck at just the right angle where string tension will make sure that these notes ring out in such a way that like it's more hollow body, but like you can feel the resonance down lower than you would in a structural guitar built here. And you're like,
sure, Like, if you
How
say
about
so.
this? Some guy buys that guitar that
Do you think
we
he
literally
knows?
watched.
Yeah.
Well, fuck it. Let's
Can
say
you
he
feel it?
does know. It's in his house. He plays it a bunch of times. Whatever. He has kids. Eventually, his kid's like 16. All right, the kid's into whatever comes after like Mickey Mouse Club. It's like something in like the year 2040. It's some really corny ass shit. But he's 16. He invites over 3 of his friends. He kind of likes guitar because his dad has all these nice guitars. He picks up that guitar and he's playing the world's most incorrect tab for the Mickey Mouse theme song. And he's
Mhm.
playing it to impress his friends, right? While he's doing this, like he was eating ice cream, he has sticky fingers. It's all over the thing. He's playing incorrectly on maybe the world's most beautiful instrument. Like, while that's going on, there's a news report that World War III has started. Literally, there are bombs being dropped. Children in Yemen have literally been cut in half, pieces, blown to smithereens. Like, there's a weird thing where, what's the history of this instrument, the disdain for this 16-year-old child who shouldn't be able to hold something that expensive or
Discordant.
that care thought.
Yeah.
And then while it's going on, there's World War III has just started. There are millions who died, and this is flashing across screens everywhere. How do you justify all 3 of those things happening at once, let alone where they are in relation to the sun and the earth, whether it's a full moon that night, and whether there's so many. What I'm saying is complexity can get really fucking complex.
It kind of sounded like serendipity and the bad. Like, is there a bad version of serendipity, or is it still serendipity?
Chaos dippity. Serendisparity. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's what I was thinking about right before you went into that diatribe or whatever that was.
Sorry.
Was like, so the achievements that like I was going for were like purely numerical, or they're time based, or like they're very like structured. So it's very like, it's definitive. It's like a requirement. Fulfill a requirement.
It's
you get
pretty
the
much if you have
the
a
medal.
finished track with millions of machines and millions of resources, you can divert all of them and cheat to like focus and make this one thing to get this achievement.
Did you ever play
Go
a
ahead.
game that was like the whole game was like get achievements? It was like
No, what was this?
every possibility was like you did or did not do this, therefore you get an achievement for not doing it or doing it.
It wasn't Stanley Parable, correct?
No. It was
Okay.
much simpler than that. Like the whole game was just like figure out how to get all the achievements, and it was just like it was just like a running simulator. Like you were like jumping on stuff, and it's like congratulations, you jumped once, achievement. It's like you jumped twice, achievement, and it's like it's just nuts. Yeah.
It's hilarious because that's totally playing into that perfectionist thing, but like tongue in cheek, I would hope.
Yes. Yeah. And I think what you get on what you like when you actually like something. So like in say what was it, Assassin's Creed or like Crackdown, or I'm sure there's other ones. Rush. It had like keys to the city, or it has these like floating orbs, or has these flags. It's like there's a completionist element to it to like collect them all. You got to catch them all, right? So I feel like the achievements are there to give you a goal, to make you accept that the number doesn't matter. Like no matter how many orbs or keys or flags they put out there, you just enjoy playing the game, so you want to complete the game in the eyes of the creator. So
What you're talking about is like a play it, get every ending, get every weapon, get every experience from the game. Play through as this character, play through as this character. You want every playthrough, you want every weapon, you want to experience all the endings, and you want to experience all the play styles. Everything. You just love the game. Let's say.
all the complexity of the game, because there's nuances in there, right? Because like when you start to learn a little bit more about that final whatever you're getting, you like, oh, you make a realization that like, oh, they designed it this way because of that, or this is like a little delayed because this has to happen, or it needs to be spaced.
It's just funny you say this because I'm not a completionist guy.
Yeah.
There's one game in my Steam library that has 100%. What the hell was it? And I'm pretty sure I know what it was. I just wanted to make sure.
I'll buy you time by talking about complexity, because we play these games as like, the basis is the game, what people don't ever take into account is like achieving something while playing a game on a computer is probably like the ultimately the most complex thing you could possibly do, right? Because the very origin of things, like electricity, transistors, like having a computer, like playing it, being on the internet, and like maybe multiplayer, actually being like connected to like the community of people talking about the game, and then having developers like spend a year like making the physics or like how things interact, like the level of complexity that goes into a video game is like built on all of this technology that you can't, there's no possible way you can comprehend like the internet. There's no way you can go to one little piece and be like take away like a few pieces from it, read a website, web page, like figure out this one thing, but the entirety of life is figuring out like one thing and then like okay, next thing, and then like you make little connections along the way. And sometimes you hit a bunch of connections which are an epiphany. What was the game?
Inside.
Inside?
Yeah, that was it.
What was like the highest level of achievement? Like what was the best one?
The best one? Well, I had 100% on that one.
No, I mean like out of all those achievements, which one do you remember?
Pulling the worm out of the pig's ass. I feel like. Do you remember that?
I didn't do that one.
Like,
maybe I did do that one. I don't know.
You probably did, because like it's just a weird thing where they're
the very beginning where you're like,
yeah, you're like, what the hell's going on here, dude? Where did that worm come from? They're just like what you said. I would agree with and disagree with. I don't think it's the most complex thing in the world, but what's interesting enough is making a computer game is trying to simulate a life experience, and ironically, it's on a simulation machine. So what you said is very true and kind of very funny.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to power up your electronic simulation machine to power on your simulation, which is constantly being updated with different graphics card things, programming things, fixes, community workarounds, like add-ons, bonus features, like stuff that they also have to. The cool thing about a video game is that a video game creator has to account for or make you be able to do a billion different choices. Like you have to be able to run here and then do the achievement, or here and then do the achievement, or here and not do the achievement, or here and here and here, here and here, and then do the achievement. Like there's so many, you can do everything quickly, slowly, the wrong way, the right way, and I think that is kind of cool.
So you touched on like distilling down to an essence of something, and like I aspire to make video games in the future. I've not made like a complete one yet. I have like pieces of them, but like I'll have ideas for games.
How old was the guy who made Factorial? He got time.
He was younger than I. Yeah, he's younger than me.
Ever was.
Yeah. But like I have these little ideas, and I think you touched on it, is that you're trying to emulate like an essence of something that you experienced when you were younger, and you're trying to replicate it, or like capture what it is to, like in Factorio, capture what it is to like manage like everything down to like the minutest detail and like see the ripple effect of it. Like very few things in real life like you can actually see the ripple effects. Like you might be able to throw a stone in the water, and that's the most closely related thing. But
I think you can. The problem is they take 10 times as long.
Yes.
And they're not reliable because in 10 years you might not care. You know what I mean? It's like a cool thing about a simulation is I want to see what it looks like in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Not, hey, I'd like to cast my fortune in this venture in life and see how that turns out in 15 years. Let's wait. Like no one has that. So what you're saying is yours is it's a sped up version of some version of life?
I think so. I think I like games like that because I need the satisfaction. I need
do you like to know what the alternatives are? Like
Terrible.
do you like to no the alternatives to like a decision or a choice?
Oh yeah.
Like do you like to play through
possibilities?
So when you play first-person shooters like Dishonored, etc., there are spots where you can decide to take a room by stealth. You can take over an enemy and use magic. There's brute force. You go in guns blazing. Do you ever do a quick save before the room?
100%.
There's like 11 guys in here, and you go in and do it one way, and you literally beat it, but then you're like, what if?
This is like, have you played Arkham Asylum? Batman?
Yes, I have.
That's one of the ones where you can like chain things together and fight people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can fight like legitimately like a dozen people at the same time. And how you like
and using this special power and a punch combo, and
you can like use multiples of people as a combo into another person, and then it's just like it just like blows your mind that you can understand that like, oh, if I get this group of people and like do this thing to them, then they're gonna be knocked down, and I can spin off of them and then kick that guy in the face while kicking the other guy in the face, and then jump up there, and then it's just like it does something that just like hits on a nerve where you're just like like it's so much happiness that you like figured it out, and also it just, I don't know, it's awesome because you've never seen it before. Like most games don't do that. They don't allow you to do that, and they're like structured in a way that like you just broke. Like you broke the structure of most video games by like executing that one move. And I love it.
Did they want you to do that? Yeah, the quick save.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The creators wanted you to do that, correct?
Yeah.
What you do.
Like the way you like lock onto other guys. Yeah. Like the way you can like choose which guy to lock onto, or like your next move. You're like chaining your moves together by like figuring out how you move through the crowd of people. And it's pretty awesome.
I didn't beat it, and I didn't get to the point where I'm fighting dozens. Like I'll fight like 5 and 6 guys in a room, and it's pretty badass. And I got different like power ups, and I'm choosing my path now. But no, I don't think I've come across that. But that's pretty. I'll keep going.
So the quick save part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. So like the quick save.
What game did you quick save the most in?
Probably like Bioshock.
I know mine. Mine was Half-Life 1.
I don't. Maybe like a Resident Evil, maybe. Quick save a lot because you're like.
Did that have quick save? I don't think it did.
I feel like
you had ribbons. You had to have ribbons and save at a friggin' typewriter, which was awful, by the way.
Yeah, it makes it so that you have to plan it out, but you have to know in advance when it's like playing it multiple times helped a lot.
Yep.
Which is what I did. I like. Have you played multiple games over and over again? Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. I got the ribbon. I got the stealth thing. I finished different endings for that game. This is what I was going to ask you. What did you over completionalize as far as games? I actually did that with Resident Evil 2. I got like all different endings. I tried to get tofu. I did not get tofu. You know what tofu was?
Yeah, I got tofu.
Block of tofu. You got the block of tofu?
Yeah.
Didn't you have to beat that at a certain time using like less than bullets than usual or something?
Yeah. I forget what I mean. I have to look this up now.
His name was Hunk, right? I think it was something.
It was.
Wait, and what was your power? So you boot up the game as a piece of tofu with a knife? Is that what it was? Which isn't a cool thing, which is hilarious. I think that's... So Resident Evil 2 was great because I beat it with Leon, I beat it with Claire, I beat it with like no grenades, I beat it with all grenade launchers, I beat it with infinite ammo, I beat it with just different things. Fighting Nemesis and everything. Ada Wong, and then there's a crocodile that eats a canister, and you're going to blow its face off. Games like that, you play through again and again. I enjoy those. I did this with Metal Gear Solid.
It says that you beat it once as one character, and there's the other character, and then there's like a fourth survivor mode, which I don't remember at all.
Yeah, I don't. They re-released this game, so maybe it's easier to get Hunk in that new mode. Anyway, you could play as a block of tofu, which had no power-ups or any real help in your life, and people strive to do it. I never actually did it. I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, you're a loser, Nick. It's okay.
Metal Gear Solid, I beat every which way from Wednesday. I probably beat that game like 7-10 times.
Is your passion... It's crazy because like a passion for a game, like just... I feel like you live the experience of the game so much so that you enjoy just the being of the game, which is a really strange thing. Yeah. We both understand thoroughly how the game feels, and we're connected to it in a way that just like there's a feedback loop of like, yeah, it should be this way, and we expect it. And like watching, I guess the difference there is watching other people fail at the same thing because you both have equal playing ground, or whatever you would call equal playing ground with
Right, playing different styles, playing each other different, right.
Yeah, there's an inherent advantage that I think we had that you just kind of, you absorb it. And once you're in it, I don't know.
But isn't that cheating? And not even to take away from it. Because cheating is just finding something, not a glitch, finding a shortcut, finding a glitch, finding something that wasn't necessarily intended or overt, and just hammering it again and again. Because we learned how to dodge bullets, how to hide behind cover, how ducking around the corner at the last second will avoid gunfire, how you can technically hit the stab button when you're X amount of feet away, even though it should be a little closer. It'll count.
Timing of certain guns, and like how fast you can move, and how they like only have certain exits or certain entries. You know that like 90-something% of the time they're going to go this way. They're going to look this way first.
Because everyone's shooting.
Yeah.
So
what else?
It's funny, we got very into video games.
Yeah, we did. That's because this is the most like, how else can you play out the most possibilities, which is kind of what we're pointing at with complexity, is that in life you only really get like, you make your own choices, but your choices take a lot longer. And like even like your emotional scale, like it takes a while for emotions to click in, and then like if you feel like depressed about something, it's like very hard to figure out like why do I feel this way? Like people don't understand their own emotions, which is very bizarre. So they don't, like, they might have just achieved something like great. They might have been like at the top of whatever their game, and they'd be like, like I guess I got it. It doesn't, like, sometimes it doesn't register.
Well, it's a weird point. It's true. It's like we talked about that in mastery. When you've worked so hard for something and you put so many hours into it, by the time you do it, whatever it is, execute the deal, perform a symphony, do all this stuff, you're not doing some grand thing that you've never done before. You're doing something you've practiced for 9,000 hours. It just feels like another practice day. So when you've done it, you finished it, you probably don't even hear the joy in it. You just heard maybe where I almost made a mistake, maybe where I could have cleaned this up, maybe where I did this, and someone else hears, wow, I don't know anyone could play that good, or I didn't know anyone could do this that good. And you're just like, yeah, I'm pretty good, but I missed a couple notes. Gotta clean that up tomorrow. I'll practice for like 4 hours. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like the movie The Truman Show. It's where the guy lives his entire life being filmed. He has no idea, and then he finally breaks free, and then it goes through the people that are like celebrating and like cheering because he finally escaped the bubble that he was forced to live in. And then like the comment was like, what do you want to watch now? And change the channel?
Yeah, the very last thing they do say. That's a good point.
He's like, what do you do next?
Did you see the tweet going around about that? The attention to detail in that movie?
No. Why?
It went around 2 days ago, and it was about the attention to detail is insane. Like, they show you the cameras and everything. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
It was just funny. It came up 2 days ago.
What do you mean? Like, give us an example, because you're ruining.
Fresh on it?
The audibles part of it.
So, do you know where he meets the brothers or the twins or whatever they are every day, and like they're like heavy set and they laugh and stuff, and they have a business that he never goes inside?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's intentional that the front of their business ends, and you can see like a drain at the bottom, and be like, what? Why would it? And it's like, oh, it's a farce. All the newspaper episodes, if you look at all the newspapers zoomed in, they show you it's the number of days Truman has been alive. So the episode will say like XV XIII. I'm not good at Roman numeral math on the run while I'm doing an episode, but it would be like 38
Too complex.
years. Yeah. Like there's just a lot of detail. So they put cameras, like the little black circles with the bubbles. That's like a camera, like a security camera, on everything in that show. Intentionally. Not to hide it from anyone, to show you that he's being filmed. It's on like half the trash cans you see in the city that people are wheeling out. It's in his office in the background. It's on all these buildings. It's everywhere.
I want to watch
like
this
someone
again
had
and
it,
just
circled
like...
it. Well, I'll share this thing, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like they really cared about the details.
That made me hit on
Okay.
like sometimes you meet people that are like too quick. And this, I mean, I worked for NASA for a really long time, so there's a lot of people that are like trying to be quick. And what I found is that like sometimes people respond quicker than I can like work through a scenario, and I wonder how are they thinking so fast? And then after a long period of time, I realized that like after years, I realized that like there's a lot of people that like to jump to the conclusion without actually like reasoning out all the possible scenarios, and they just want to be like the herald. They want to skip over everything and just be like, hey, I got to this point, and it's like, 90% of the time they're like, yeah, they skipped to the right point. Like they thought about the right point for long enough, but they didn't really think about all the like odd ends, the possibilities, they didn't reason it all out.
Check this out. What you're describing is the opposite of like an autistic spectrum.
He's like,
so let's say you were like super autistic, like, and not like you couldn't function in society, but where you refuse to accept things for a forsaken conclusion without going through all of the facts. And you're like, he did say hello and good morning, but it was afternoon. Did he mean good afternoon? We should review more facts. He did this. You could go on for hours reviewing everything someone did, said, or whatever, what they could have meant, what they would have meant. But if you really spent double the time you did, what would we call that? A big waste of friggin' time. Yeah. I don't disagree. But that individual, I put my money behind them on whether they got it right in the end. You know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, you're right, dude. He was making fun of you at breakfast the other day. Yeah, you got it.
I
didn't even notice.
I do this with like when I used to, like dating women. I would always like super overanalyze everything. Like, did they really mean that? And then like you look back at the other day, like yesterday, like, oh shit, like why did I say that? Like I know she meant, oh crap. But that's
you think
not
about this, dude. So hold on, you're married, right?
Yeah.
Did you think of anything your wife may have said cutting at dinner within 2 dinners ago? I think it's a little dry. Was she giving real criticism, or was she actually? Oh, she was just saying it as like a passing comment. Oh, wait a minute. She said it was dry a month ago, Wednesday. When you know what I mean? Like you could go so deep. It wasn't even
human that day. Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't even human that day.
I don't. So yeah, I don't. There's a point where I guess what you feel, the emotion between two people. Yeah. No, what you feel between two people has nothing to do with what you say. And after a long period of time, you realize that like what you're saying, like the details might be completely ridiculous and make no sense at all. But you can share like information with another person without ever making sense, and they can enjoy it.
Do you think it's different guys and girls?
Different between them, like sharing information. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, sure.
If you lived with them, let's say me and you lived together, do you think it would be different, or would you say
we
things
would
like
just grunt?
Well, I bought the last. No. Or would you say this? I bought the last 3 toothpastes. I thought maybe when you bought one, you would buy the same one we always have, and I'd say like this. Oh, this one was on sale. I just got that one. And you'd say, oh, well, it doesn't have extra whitening. You'd tap the seat a little bit. And I'd say, well, we got 3 tubes of whitening. 1 without. We'll do 3 more tubes of whitening. What's the big deal? And turn around. I go back to what I was doing. And it would annoy you because it would be like tapping.
Yeah.
Then you'd be like, well, that's funny because my 3 tubes cost $19. Your 1 tube costs $4. That doesn't seem to add up.
Yeah, that's like me eating like corn on the cob and then tasting the butter on it and go like, is this unsalted butter?
Oh. That's true. Is that when you discovered the unsalted butter now? I can imagine her saying, what? That's all they had. It's coronavirus. Like, it was hard to shop. And you're like,
I don't try to. There was salted butter right next to this unsalted butter. How dare you?
Do you have any footage?
It's the same price. I checked online.
So, it's funny we got here, but it's like
complexity.
Complexity or satisfaction or
I don't know.
Of them or both of them?
Well, human interaction is like the most complex thing because I think it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And then to have like a male and a female counterpart like battling in really weird, obscure ways, it's just like a learning experience. And it's like it's not necessarily that you like become better at things; it's just become more tolerable.
Well, you become more entrenched in things. Those battles become battles later on. I would tell you the opposite. I would say as you grow, live longer,
You're trying not to.
Well, no. I have this theory that the reason life seems to go faster every year is for two reasons. And we've literally discussed it. One, when you're 2 years old, 1 year is 50% of your life.
Yeah.
You relive 50% of your life. That's a long friggin' time. If you're 90, it's 1/90th of your life. Fraction. Someone do a fraction. 10%? I don't fucking know.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, when you're 90,
1.1%.
1 year is like 10%ish of your life.
1 point.
What'd you say?
When you're 90 and you add 1 year?
Yeah, what is that? I have no idea.
1.1%.
Really? Oh, like I say, move that decimal.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's 1.1% of your life. So imagine 1.1% of your life right now, and you're like, yep, just did it again. Like, natural progression. Everything seems like it's moving quicker. Two, you make so many new connections, find so many new people, and you hardly ever sever entirely old connections. In fact, what I would say is you develop these things like, oh, I have a friend who contacts me every 4 years. I have a friend, my aunt, I really have to visit her every 8 years. You run into these things that are like pattern developed, but you've never experienced these patterns until you know a pattern that's 40 years old. I don't even know a 40-year-old pattern. I'm not there yet. Maybe there is one. Every 40 years, X happens. So now I have to add this pattern into my 1 year pattern, into my things that happen every week, things that happen every day, friends that show up every 3 months, every other year, and then like all these things keep conjoining, and you are so entwined with so many god damn things, conversations, drama, people you know, uncles that hit you up because they're drunk every 4 years and 3 months for whatever reason, and it's just crazy because they won't go away unless they die. And we're hoping they don't die, but then again, maybe on the anniversary of their death, everyone kind of calls each other, and then you have that extra connection to do. And there are literally so many things and anniversaries and people and occurrences and cycles that show up in your life, the longer you live, that you literally run out of time. That's what kills us. I've decided. The most complexity of life is what kills us. It's like a tree. My roots get so deep, I can't move left, I can't move right. You think I could decide to just go to Costa Rica tomorrow? Could I?
Not permanently.
Not even for like an hour. I'd get in big trouble.
So, this is an off-the-wall topic, but when you die, how do you want to be celebrated?
I think this actually sounds fucked up, and I think this is ultimately a weird thing.
That'd be good.
It's not. This is the sad part. I wanted people to like drink crazy amount of beers and like raise glasses and tell crazy stories about something I did, or like this one time I did whatever, or bury my ashes and everyone gets so crazy wasted and has a great time and no one's crying and all this. But like, ultimately, what if it's like the divorce date for one of my friends, or like, you know what I mean?
It's a shitty date for somebody.
Yo, yeah, what if it is? I don't get to pick. He doesn't get to pick. And then what if it's like some girl I used to date, and she's actually getting eye surgery that day. Yeah, fucked up. She had something wrong with her eye, and it's like she couldn't even make the funeral. And then like, what if like my dad is like really sad? He's still alive somehow, because usually, you know, parents outlive the kids, all that. And he's like, I want to go. And he goes, and he wants to say all these things because he's emotional and everything, but he's like not a good public speaker, and he feels sick to his stomach, and he has bad fish in the morning. And then like he can't even speak.
Breakfast fish.
And then like he said breakfast fish. I don't know why he did it. It was a crazy thing. But like, what if all this shit happens? They hire a priest because they don't know what I wanted, and like the priest is terrible, and it's like a long boring mass, and they bury my ass, and then everyone's like, I gotta drive tonight. It's Tuesday. Big day at work tomorrow. I might get a promotion. Like, I'm not gonna begrudge any of these people to make any of these decisions because that's just life. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna be like a regular fucking day where some people are sad, and I'm like, fuck. I wish people had this epic Matrix party where they had an orgy and like shit was going wild. Like, that's what I want.
Rave in Zion.
Yeah. Dude,
everybody's sweating and dripping all over each other.
Doing nut stuff, but Ultimately, it's gonna be a Tuesday for someone. It's gonna be someone's wedding anniversary. It's gonna be a day someone has an eye exam later in the day.
You and your extended family and from every age range just like raving and sweating and chanting and pounding bodies together, grandmas
I would love it, but it's gonna be way more boring than that.
Do you think the movies ever portray it right? What do you think? How do I want to be remembered?
Yeah, you can wish for whatever you want. Remember, when it goes, it's going to be boring. It's going to be a regular Tuesday or something, and people are going to be sad. Don't get me wrong. I
don't know. I feel like whatever the traditional thing is, like Buryu, say Mass, like it's always off the mark. I think I would always want to have something unique and special, and I think I'd probably make it so like.
You want something crazy? What do you want? Yeah, I told you about the best way to go, man. Hire 2 helicopters. Drop your body from the top one onto the blades underneath, and just shower everyone in your body.
Grand Theft Auto. Oh my god.
It's so beautiful.
That would be horrendous about all the people below the helicopter, the second helicopter.
Check this. Look, well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Check this. If you had the money for it, could you even ensure it's going to happen? Even if you paid them ahead of time, the helicopter people.
Yeah.
And they signed off on chopping up that body and just showering people in entrails, your entrails. Would they even do it? After you're dead, who's going to argue with them? If they're like, we really can't, we're going to send this money back, we really appreciate it, but it's against our judgment. That would make me so mad, but you're dead.
They would probably find you, like, clinically insane. You get put in a mental hospital, and then you wouldn't be able to get out.
No, you're dead.
Before you even get there.
Die.
What, after you die, what?
If you have Jeff Bezos money, you could probably pass the law through and get people to sign off on it, but are they really going to do it? Once he's dead, they're like, whew, he was fucking nuts. We're not doing that, right? No, we're not doing that. We're good.
It's like really creative assisted suicide.
Yeah, oh, that's the only way you can guarantee it, is if you're still living and it was your way to die. And you're like, all right, sir, step out of the helicopter into the other helicopter.
Oh my god.
All the love points are below. Enjoy your trip to Valhalla, sir.
Oh my god. I was just there's one story about like the easiest way to like there legitimately is a group that will help you like hands off. Help you assisted suicide. That's like the most peaceful way. And then it's like the reverse of like I guess you wouldn't feel it.
Think is cool.
But you might. Like you might still have like you might be a severed head that can still blink and look around and like that's what bothers me the most.
Really? You're there for like 5 seconds. You probably have no feeling anymore.
What if they like somehow it like cauterized like your neck and then you're just like
made you feel ultimate feel?
Yeah. How do you feel the most pain? It's like helicopter blades sound like that's probably not a good way.
Hey, come on, dude. Do you know why animals like you see a squirrel that's been run over but it's still alive?
Yeah. Mhm.
How much pain do you think it's feeling?
Oh, the worst. It's got to be the worst.
I don't think so, dude. I think it's just overload. Your body can't take that much pain.
If squirrels could scream, I think you'd think differently. If you're sort of like ah! Damn squirrels!
Scream, my man. You ever hear a cat and a squirrel fight like at night?
I've never heard a squirrel scream.
I think we overestimate how much pain there is in dying or like being eviscerated or like cut.
You probably really don't feel it until you're dead. You
only feel so much pain, and then your body just like
it shuts down.
You can't move your legs. It's like this weird, blinding, numbing sound, and you're dying. And it's like, hey, cool. I can't move my arms. I don't know.
So back to what I want when I die.
Not that.
Not that. I think
not that.
I think what I want is to have it like in a way that makes it more adventurous for other people. Like I want people to like take this like token of whatever I give them in
Indiana
like,
Jones. So a boulder's gonna come down and we all grab your ass.
Run now!
You have to make it to the exit now. That would be cool. I would appreciate that.
Yeah. Or like some people like take ashes and they sprinkle them wherever, and like that seems so tacky because like no one really knows where you want to go. So there's like if you leave it open ended.
Right? I want my ashes somewhere cool.
We have like a bucket list of places you wanted to go, but you're like forcing other people to go there.
No, yeah, no, that's too much. Like
That's
one spot, and it's like a cool spot. Like I want to go to the beach, and then a shark's mouth, and I want the shark to poop it out during during a
you have to wait
sunset.
for a great white to jump out of the water and shoot my ashes into its mouth.
This great white has to poop at 7:47 p.m.
Uh,
in the direction of the sun.
there was probably some other
So wait,
direction.
what the hell do you want? No, I don't know what the hell you want when you die. I'm
No,
so
I think I want
confused.
other people to
An
experience.
adventure?
Yeah, like they go to the funeral and like, I'd rather just have a party for one, like your rave, so that other people enjoy themselves, and then B, like I hope they discover something new. Like if you said go to like that redwood forest in like California where there's like General Sherman and you've never been there, like put that token like by a tree or something. Like I give you like a physical thing that says like this is a piece of Dan. Dan's in this woods.
Is it fucked up? I have a pretty good chance to give you a eulogy.
No, you're gonna die before me, so probably.
Oh no, I totally think so. But if I don't, guess what?
I would actually I think other people would enjoy that. I would have enjoyed it if I was still alive at my usual eulogy.
Well, it's literally not for you. It would be for other people. And I
Yeah.
did a podcast with you. That's crazy, dude. I know you more than a lot of people.
This is yeah.
This
legacy
reminds
right
me of a factorio.
here. At hour
Except for all
273
his
and
organisms.
5 minutes, you can see Dan clicking here to
Yeah.
copy and paste his
Wait,
base.
I could figure out how many.
Just
minutes
look at
you
the
were alive,
complexity. There's no way anyone can conceive of factorial or human life.
As we can say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. As we can see here, after 9,742 minutes, Dan's perfect experiment stopped working. Your mom's just crying. People are just crying, and I'm like, but let's look to the brighter moments. Like Call of Duty 4.
Or a poll by Gallup that shows
Or a
that
poll.
people
It shows his happiness was actually in the 96% range.
based on his ethnicity, age, and financial well-being.
Did you come across this one? There we go. So the self, which is like like you take spiritual or religious courses in high school or whatever, and you base your life on the self. There's four concepts: self concept, self esteem, social self, and self knowledge make up yourself.
Hmm.
And I actually didn't think that was bad. So the concept of yourself, which is what you think you are, what you think you're good at, what you think you're bad at, what you think you are going to be good at, bad at, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Self-esteem, how you feel about that. I'm confident in my abilities to do X. I feel weird about my hips. Oh my god, I have love handles. Ooh. Social self, which is how you think your peers see you, kind of how you see them, etc., where you fit in society. And then self-knowledge, which was like, how much do you actually know about yourself? Your greatest fears. Who's going to give you your eulogy? That kind of fun stuff. And all of that makes up you, which goes to your life satisfaction, which I'm not going to read the whole article because it looks long. But those things make up who we are, and I think that's pretty good and pretty, I don't know, makes sense.
When was the last time you were satisfied?
An hour ago?
Not physically.
Oh,
Mentally
Jesus Christ.
satisfied.
Oh, mentally. I go through spurts where I'm totally inebriated with depression and hate my life,
Despair, yeah.
etc. And then I go through phases where I'm like, yo, can you imagine? And I say something like, the other day I totally got on the phone. I was like, maybe you should check the website. You don't have a website. And I'm like, better get it before it runs away. Like, if you say like a corny joke or do something hilarious, like, and hang up on someone or something, you smile so hard that it doesn't matter. Can you laugh so hard at a joke that the rest of your life doesn't matter? I feel like I've heard or told some jokes that were so funny that if my life was horrible, I'd be like, yo, but hold up, let me
Turned
tell
his life
you.
around.
Let
That
me
one
tell you about
joke.
Shovel Face. So what are we talking about? Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Since we're coming back around, what did the even episode have to do with? It was self, confidence.
For me,
For
it was
you,
I guess, the expectation of
complexity.
certain things that, you're already sitting at a base that's like, you're pretty well off. You have a lot of things going on, and as you get older, those pieces like become very varied and very difficult to like hone in on.
Balance them all.
Yeah, and so you get a weird kind of despair where like, I think that's why I played that video game so much, is that I like, there's nothing that I could get the satisfaction
Gain back
from,
control.
and there's no way I could comprehend like the outcome of something that might take years to have like come to a head. So I guess that's the essence of it, is that like life becomes so like vague yet more complex and more intricate, and there's no way to comprehend all that and bring it all in and like really digest it, except if you play a video game and you can get an achievement and it makes you feel like you did something beyond the achievement.
I don't disagree. I think everything gets broader. You just have so many new endeavors, talents, things you dabble in, people you know.
I also feel like there should be more achievements after you, like after 40. Like life is such that like it's marketed towards people that are younger than 40. Like after
Well,
you reach this
hold
age,
up.
like what do you?
I'll say, check this. I used to think once you're like 25, like that's it. That's everything's marketed to you. Clothes,
Yeah,
video games, going out to party. Now I'm 35. I feel like anyone over 35, I meant.
you can
Like,
roll
do
it
you know what I mean?
back.
How
Yeah,
it's yeah, you can keep rolling it back, and there is. It's just like, do you care about Instagram models anymore, or like
no, I just laugh at
Facebook?
them. It's like, this is ridiculous.
So, so what do you think you're gonna do at friggin' 45, dude? You're gonna laugh at people who are 35. It's not gonna change. You're just moving the goalpost, and you will find your own group. And do you know how many 45-year-olds there will be when you're 45? Dozens, literally dozens in the world that are 45 with you. So I think you're very attuned to your own age group, your own
Mm-hmm.
section of life, your own people, the own
Helicopter
everyone
blades.
born, your own helicopter blades. So so in 10 years or so, you'll find new helicopter blades to focus on. What I will say is this is crazy, and I didn't think of this before, but what we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it's like diminishing returns. And it's like you can put so much into a thing, and when you first do it, I put 10% in. Holy shit, sir, you put 10% in? Sir, that's incredible. This is off the charts. I got to talk to my manager. Now you're a 50% stockholder, and it's like I put 1% in it, and they're like, 1%? Can you put a little more? Now, like, you're like 40, you got a family, you got a business, you're doing this for the company and everything. And they're like, I spent an extra 80 hours doing this year. And they're like, 80 hours this year? Suck my dick, sir. And it's like, damn, diminishing returns much? Goodness gracious.
You don't ever have
But
it
it's
the
like,
opposite way, where you've done something for so long that you expect it not to pay out, and then at the end of it, you realize something at like, it just changes your
the
brain ever so.
11th hour.
You finally like, oh, you never had that realization at the end and go, damn, I wasted all this time. If I had only known.
No, I think everything's wasted time. I'm saying the exact that, but to the nth degree. Like in business and everything, and people are like, "You barely did anything," and I'm like, "That's years of my life. You can't say that. That's offensive. I'm gonna cancel you. You can't say that. Not in this culture.
You're done
Not
as
in
a
this
person.
planet." I will say this: everything's like a fucking fractal. You zoom in enough, it's complex as fuck. You zoom out enough, it's complex as fuck. No one gets why. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, You can simplify it, you can complexify it, you can do whatever the fuck you want. No one has the answer. No matter how focused you are, no matter unfocused you are, no matter how many relationships you have, no matter how many relationships you think you have. It's all fuck all, folks. Yeah, I said a bad word. Come cancel us. But it's way more complicated than you think. Okay? So I couldn't follow the bit all the way to the finish.
I was
But I
letting
want
you
to tell
pause.
you to check our socials
Yeah.
and see what you got to say to finish it up.
Fuck all, folks, because we like you.
Fuck all, folks. We like you. We like you like just enough without like wanting to smack you and get sued by you. So
Okay.
check our links, check our socials, check all the stuff we do every single day online.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do that.
Do it.
Do that.
Do it. You should.
Thanks.
We like it. We like it a lot.
Oof. Oof.